our lives that I thought were beautiful. And I think it's very important to make sure I always, we had good times. We loved to dance, but enough. It wasn't enough to survive the hard times, and there wasn't, it just wasn't enough,
Yeah. Just the knife in the kidneys over all.
She didn't save the family. She dismantled it, one heart, one home, one bond at a time. This isn't a misunderstanding. It's not about jealousy. It's about a woman who came in last and tried to rewrite the entire story like she had always been the center of it. Scene 1, the lie Robyn told. We all heard the spin. Robyn claimed Mary, Janelle, and Christine changed. Why? 'Cause they started visiting their grown children. As if loving your adult kids, being there for them was a betrayal of the family. But let's pause right there. Who really abandoned whom? Robyn's son was accepted into Northern Arizona University. So what happened? The entire family uprooted their lives and moved to Flagstaff, leaving behind jobs, friends, and even their own children, so Robyn's child could attend the AWAC school of his choice. Meanwhile, the other mothers, Mary, Christine, and Janelle, left behind the children they were still raising, just to support this move, and now Robyn dares to shame them for wanting to stay connected to their kids. Scene 2, a twisted definition of family. Robyn framed it like being close to your grown children meant betraying the family. But whose family is she even talking about? She once referred to herself, Kody, and her kids as the nucleus. The real family, the bigger family. As if the others, Logan, Madison, Garrison, Michael T., Hunter, Gwen, Gabriel, didn't matter. As if Christine's girls or Janelle's sons weren't the soul of what this family used to be. She looked into the camera and said her littlest doesn't remember her siblings' names, and then blamed that on everyone else. But here's the truth. When you raise your children to believe that independence is abandonment, you are building a cage, not a home. Scene 3. The manipulation of Robyn Brown. And then there's Kody, the man who used to call all his children blessings, now parroting Robyn's words like a script handed to him the night before. She's the only one who stayed loyal, he says. But what he means is she's the only one who stayed obedient. Robyn didn't just win Kody's favor. She isolated him, peeled him away from every wife who had built this family from the ground up. She turned him against the children who didn't need her permission to exist, and the older kids saw it. They felt it. Silence, the distance, the betrayal. Scene 4 was Flagstaff a strategy. There's another layer here. Is Flagstaff really about college? Or was it a strategic move to distance Kody from the people who reminded him who he used to be? Because every relationship Kody had that didn't include Robyn was a threat. This wasn't about faith. Not anymore. This was about control. Robyn didn't just join a family. She joined a television show. She didn't marry into a lifestyle. She married into a platform. And once she got in, she didn't blend. She rewrote. She replaced. Scene 5, the business scam. But it wasn't just emotional betrayal. It was financial too. He wants half the land, they said. But what did he actually bring to the table? Junk, drama, and the remnants of failed businesses that mysteriously ended up stored on Christine's land. Christine had been begging Kody to remove his junk from her garage, junk from ventures no one remembers approving. And while he casually jokes about it to realtors, families are left wondering, wait, were shared family funds used for this? Because when Janelle wanted to park her RV, she had to ask permission. But Kody, he dumped trucks, tools, and trailers onto shared property as if it were his personal junkyard. Was that part of the dream too? To have the wives fund his failures while he built a barndominium to store the past like a shrine to his ego. Scene 6. My Sister Wife's Closet, or Money Pit. And don't forget the infamous My Sister Wife's Closet. A project Robyn swore was about empowerment, yet it became a financial sinkhole. Shared funds were poured into it. Mary and Janelle contributed, Christine too. But the returns, where did the money go? What was the plan? Who gave Robyn the reins? Kending the final truth? Robyn Brown didn't preserve the family. She rewrote it, reshaped it, okay? And now claims it crumbled because the others changed. No, Robyn, they didn't. Change, they chose love. They chose their kids. They chose healing. What crumbled wasn't the family, it was the illusion. The idea that you could enter a legacy and twist it into a story that only serves you. But the viewers saw it. The children lived it and the truth. The truth is louder than any stage tear or empty apology. Closing narration music fades out. Family doesn't ask you to abandon your children. Family doesn't demand silence in the face of pain. Family doesn't thrive under control. It survives through love. And maybe that's why so many walked away, not because they changed, but because they finally saw who was really holding the matches while the family burned. She told Mary to drop college for a jewelry business, then blamed her when it failed. He laughed when his wife crashed an ATV, then told her to fix her behavior if she ever wanted love again. This isn't a misunderstanding. This isn't confusion. This is delusion. And Kody Brown is no longer just a failed husband. He's a walking contradiction. Rewriting history with Robyn holding the pen. Scene 1. The truth about my sister-wife's closet, Robyn once said. I started a business, and Mary was on board at first, but the truth. Mary had plans. She was finally going to college, till Robyn stepped in and pushed her to give it all up for a jewelry business built on wishful thinking and costume charms. And now, years later, Robyn talks like she's been part of the Brown family for 30 years. She wasn't even there in Vegas. This is revisionist history on steroids. Meanwhile, somewhere on Coyote Pass, cheap Phoenix pendants sit buried like relics of a failed empire. Someday, archaeologists might dig them up, mistaking them for sacred tribal artifacts. Ah, yes, they'll say. The people of Arizona once worshipped metallic bird logos and blamed a woman named Christine for everything. Scene 2, the attack on Mary, and if the business betrayal wasn't enough, Kody had more insults in his back pocket. To a realtor, no less, he mocked Mary's wet bar, which she paid for herself. Then casually suggested she'd have to give up her hobby if she ever wanted to find a new man. Let that sink in. Kody Brown, man surrounded by collapsed relationships, is now giving dating advice to the wife he emotionally abandoned. Scene 3, land lies, and math that doesn't add up when it came time to divide the land. Kody's logic took a nosedive straight into hypocrisy. He suggested the land be split for ways between himself, Robyn, Janelle, and Mary, but then argued he should get half. Wait, what? For people. But 2 of them, Kody and Robyn, get 2/3. That's not how math works, but apparently gaslighting does. He even said, if you want to keep all 14 acres, then buy me out. Buy you out. Of what? A junkyard full of failed dreams and RV resentment. Scene for the ATV incident. Laughter instead of love. One of the most disturbing moments came during a family ATV ride. Robyn, his beloved sweet wife, slammed into the ground after a crash. She hit hard, was in obvious pain. Begged him not to take off her helmet. Kody laughed. Not a chuckle. Not nervous laughter. He genuinely found it amusing. This after one of his own children required surgery from a similar crash. And he still found it funny. This is who he's become. Scene 5. The list, a husband's performance review after 20 years of support from 3 wives. Kody handed them a list of what they had to improve to stay married to him. Not affection, not communication, just a checklist of behavioral corrections. He wasn't acting like a husband. He was conducting employee evaluations. He once told Mary, I have the right to treat you poorly for the next 20 years until you fix yourself. It's not just cruel, that's psychological warfare. Scene 6. The truth about his priorities, Kody says. My kids are my priority. But his actions say the opposite. He's ready to move miles away. He skipped holidays. He ghosted birthdays. He broke relationships he never tried to repair. Even Robyn called him out, pushing him to admit he once loved the other wives. And Kody squirmed because if he never loved them, it confirms what fans always suspected. Robyn was always the favorite, but Robyn wasn't defending them, as she was protecting her image, desperate not to be seen as the destroyer. Too late, closing the cracks or showing Kody one's head for women. Each brought something powerful. Christine, light, energy, family, unity. Janelle, intellect, stability, order. Mary, loyalty, history, fun. Robyn, control. Now, he's down to one relationship. And no joy, no peace. A support system. It's just a fractured land, an empty barn, and a mirror he refuses to look into. Final voiceover music fades out. Close-up tone, I am your father, he said once. But being a father is more than a title. It's presence, it's accountability. It's love that doesn't come with a checklist. And right now, he's not the man he used to be. It's not the man they built a life around. He's not even sure what he's fighting for. But we are. We're fighting for truth, for healing. And for every child who watched their father walk away and decided the cycle ends with them. She wanted to be one of many, till being the only one felt better. Robyn Brown didn't dismantle the plural marriage overnight. She did it inch by inch, smiling the whole way. For years, Robyn Brown wore the mask of the devoted. Plural wife. Supportive, gentle. Misunderstood, but behind the wide-eyed confusion and breathy defenses was calculation, strategy, control. And now, as the family fractures, the mask is slipping, and it's not confusion we're seeing. Panic. Scene 1, the moral double standard Kody. Brown once claimed to be a man of values, morality, purity. He stood in judgment of his sons, particularly the older ones, condemning them for teenage behavior, for independence, for making their own decisions. But people haven't forgotten Kody's own past, especially those early courtship years with Robyn, when his behavior didn't exactly align with the values he now demands. He didn't just lose control of the narrative. It's come to who he really is. It's because morality in the Brown household was never about principle. It was about power. Rules weren't for everyone. They were tools used to manipulate, divide, and silence anyone who asked too many questions. Scene 2, Robyn's fake push for reconciliation in recent interviews and episodes. Robyn continues to say the same tired lines. Kody, you need to fix that relationship with Mary. You need to fix things with your kids, she repeats. It like a broken record, insisting that reconciliation is still possible, still worth fighting for. But it's not genuine. And it never has been. Mary has spent years being ignored by Kody, emotionally starved, dismissed, and humiliated. Janelle has made it abundantly clear she's done. She's not interested in rebuilding anything. Not with Kody. Not with Robyn. Not with the past. So why does Robyn keep pretending there's hope? Because reconciliation isn't about healing for Robyn. It's about image, about clinging to the illusion that the family she joined still exists, even though she helped burn it down. Scene 3. The performance of innocence. Robyn says she's been advocating for Mary for 7 years. But what does that really mean? What we've seen on screen isn't advocacy. It's performance. She acts confused when people walk away. She gasps and furrows her brow like the consequences of her own actions are news to her. I still think they could work it out. She whispers it again and again as if the sheer repetition will make it true. But the wide-eyed confusion, it feels scripted, like she's playing a part she can't let go of. Because as long as she says she believes in the family, she gets to keep playing victim when it all falls apart. Scene 4, Robyn's identity. Crisis. One of the few honest things Robyn ever said was this: I'm just having an identity crisis. And for once, she wasn't lying. Because she built her identity on a system secretly wanted to dominate, not join. She wanted to be the only legal wife, the favorite, the queen. Now, the plural structure is gone. Her children are growing up. Her business dreams have failed. And what's left? No career, no purpose, no sister wives. It's just a crumbling relationship with a man who's unraveling by the minute. Scene 5, the obsession with Janelle. Robyn's fixation on Janelle is deeply revealing. It goes beyond concern. It's almost obsessive. She keeps bringing her up, keeps asking if she's coming to events, keeps poking at the idea that things could still work out, but why? Because Janelle threatened her place. She was the wife Kody respected, his intellectual equal, the one he confided in. In contrast, Robyn gained her power through emotional manipulation, not mutual respect. When Janelle stood firm, Robyn panicked, because she couldn't win Janelle over, and she couldn't erase her either. Scene 6, the luxury she never asked for. Robyn constantly claimed she didn't want the big house, didn't want the legal marriage, didn't want the spotlight. But her actions say otherwise. Kody moved heaven and earth to buy her a home she wanted, kept the rest of the family's belongings in U-Hauls for months to make it happen. She got more land, more comfort, more proximity to Kody, and now she's stonewalling any talks of future purchases, refusing to downsize, refusing to share. The performance of reluctant privilege is exhausting to watch, and no one's buying it anymore. Scene 7, the cost of being the last wife standing. Robyn Brown wanted to be the last wife standing, and now she is. But at what cost? She's left with a man who's emotionally spent, children who've watched him abandon their siblings, a fan base that's turned against her, and no foundation to stand on because the illusion she spent years constructing has collapsed under the weight of truth. She didn't just fail to save the family, she helped destroy it. And now she's asking for comfort, for reassurance, for someone to tell her it's not her fault. But it is, not entirely, but significantly. Closing monologue, music builds, then fades. Kody is estranged from nearly all of his children. His wives have left, his influence is gone. And yet somehow Robyn is the one who needs comforting. She expected the others to stay, to keep the illusion alive just long enough to preserve her identity as the good one. But the truth doesn't need staging. It doesn't need spin, just needs time. And now the time has come. The cracks are visible. The audience is awake. The children are speaking out. The wives are finding freedom. And Robyn, she's still sitting there, wondering how it all slipped away while clutching the very matches she used to burn it all down. In a world carefully constructed to appear harmonious, the family at the center of sister wives has always walked a delicate line between plural devotion and internal collapse. Now, that facade is gone, shattered by years of tension, inequality, and silent betrayals. What began as a public celebration of polygamy has become a slow, painful unraveling. At the center of it all, Kody Brown, a man caught between moral posturing and emotional chaos, and Robyn, the innocent wife whose actions speak louder than her teary-eyed denials. This story isn't about villainizing individuals, but rather illuminating how deeply embedded patterns of favoritism, manipulation, and emotional neglect created a ticking time bomb within a family once heralded as groundbreaking. Let's peel back the layers, starting with the man who was supposed to lead it all. Kody, preacher of morality, prisoner of his past, Kody Brown often presents himself as the moral compass of the family. He chastises his children for youthful decisions and admonishes his wives for not living up to the ideals he claims to hold sacred. But beneath this holier-than-thou attitude lies a troubling truth. Kody's version of morality is steeped in contradiction. He speaks of purity, of obedience, of staying true to the principles of their faith. Yet memories of his own early days, with each wife, especially Robyn, suggest a man whose actions have long contradicted the very values he now insists upon. The stories of indulgence, emotional manipulation, and self-serving decisions from his courtship days contradict the high standard he now demands. What's most revealing is not just that he failed to meet those standards, but that he conveniently forgets those failures. He weaponizes morality to maintain control. But in doing so, he's lost the narrative. In fact, he's exposed who he truly is, a man no longer leading a family, but orchestrating a performance. Robyn, From supportive wife to self-centered strategist, Robyn's introduction to the family came wrapped in sincerity and promises. She spoke often of wanting to be part of a plural marriage, to embrace sisterhood and unity. But as time went on, her role shifted. She became the legal wife, the emotional, confidant, the favored one. She says she wants Kody to repair his relationships with Mary, with Janelle, with his children. But her insistence on this point feels hollow. Over and over, she's pushed this narrative even as Kody himself has said he's done. Mary and Janelle have moved on emotionally, and yet Robyn clings to a fantasy of reconciliation. Why? It could be seen as an act of loyalty to the principle of plural marriage. But more likely, it's about preserving her place. Without the dynamic of plural marriage, who is she? Just another spouse in a fractured relationship. She's not confused, she's calculated. Robyn didn't want to be one of the wives. She wanted to be the wife. And through her soft-spoken demeanor and wide-eyed performances, she almost pulled it off. Janelle, the anchor who wasn't supposed to break Janelle, represents everything. Robyn isn't independent, level-headed, emotionally reserved. She didn't demand the spotlight or compete for Kody's attention. She focused on the well-being of her children and the stability of the family. She even cashed out her retirement savings to invest in the family's vision that ended up largely benefiting Robyn. But Robyn underestimated Janelle. She mistook quiet strength for passivity. And now that Janelle has drawn her line in the sand, Robyn can't stop talking about her. Not because of concern, but because it threatens the image Robyn tries to project, that she tried to keep the family together. But Janelle didn't need Robyn, and that made her dangerous. Christine and Janelle, a bond built through loss, not. Legacy. Christine and Janelle were not always close. In fact, their earlier years were marked by distance. But the shared experience of being sidelined by Kody and watching the family structure crumble created something real between them. It's not flashy or performative. It's rooted in mutual respect. Her bond doesn't need constant validation. When Christine announced she was leaving Kody, it was Janelle who offered unwavering support. And when Christine moved to Utah, it was Janelle who wept. Not because she lost a friend, but because she saw clearly how much they had endured together. Unlike Robyn, Christine and Janelle don't need to pretend. Their connection is forged in pain, growth, and the shared understanding that love without equality isn't love at all. MC, Kelty, and Robyn. A strategic alliance. One of the most puzzling dynamics in the family has been the relationship between Mykelti and Robyn. When Mykelti chose Robyn to be present at the birth of her first child over her own mother, Christine, it wasn't just a personal choice. It was a message. Some saw it as a betrayal. Others saw it as a cry for attention. But at its core, it represented something deeper, an alliance. Robyn became a stand-in mother figure when Christine showed hesitation toward Tony. And in that vacuum, Robyn took her chance. The bond, however, has begun to fracture. Following Garrison's funeral, rumors swirled that a significant falling out occurred. Mykelti has alluded to lies from Robyn, though the specifics remain unclear. What is clear is this: the alliance may have served its purpose, but the cracks are showing. Tony and Mykelti, drama, distraction, and dominance. Tony's brash personality and Mykelti's thirst for attention have created a dynamic that often overshadows more grounded members of the family. Whether it's wedding drama or awkward humor, they seem more interested in provoking reactions than fostering harmony. Their energy exhausts rather than inspires. And in contrast to David, Christine's new partner, the comparison only magnifies their immaturity. Tony comparing David to Kody wasn't just a joke, it was a veiled insult, and one that Christine undoubtedly took to heart. Christine, grace in the face of erasure. Imagine watching someone else be chosen to help your daughter through childbirth. Imagine being sidelined, diminished, replaced. And yet, Christine responded with grace. Robyn was praised for her commitment, for sleeping in a closet, for being so hands-on, but Christine never retaliated. She took the pain, processed it, and moved forward. This kind of restraint requires emotional maturity that Robyn has never shown, because true strength isn't in controlling the narrative. It's in surviving it. The collapse of the family, a house built on sand. The truth is, this family was never sustainable. Kody's selective morality, Robyn's strategic manipulation, and the emotional neglect of the other wives created a structure destined to fall. Plural marriage only works when all parties are equal. But in the Brown household, some were always more equal than others. The unraveling wasn't sudden. It was slow, deliberate, and deeply painful. And it left scars not just on the wives, but on the children as well. It's the legacy. Who gets to tell the story? Now, as cameras fade and relationships dissolve, the question remains, who gets to tell the story? Robyn will likely continue to present herself as the devoted wife who just wanted peace. Kody will blame disobedience and changing values. Christine and Janelle will quietly move on, finding joy outside the framework that once confined them. But those who watch closely know the truth. The collapse wasn't about faith or philosophy. It was about ego, control, and the inability to treat people as equals. Conclusion. The future without fantasy Robyn is left in a house built on promises no longer kept. Kody is surrounded by silence. Janelle has her dignity. Christine has her joy. And Mary, perhaps the most tragic figure, finally has her freedom. This is not the ending any of them expected. But maybe it's the one they needed. Because in the absence of illusion, there is finally room for truth. If you felt this, share it. Let others see beyond the headlines. Let them see the cost of pretending. This is Alina. Until next time, take care. Ata. Ata. But what hit the audience hardest was not just the fact that Robyn lied, it was the coldness of how she lied. She looked straight into the camera, tears teetering on her lashes, and claimed that all the kids matter equally, while Reddit. Sleuths dug up clip after clip where her actions told a completely different story. She had routinely dismissed Garrison, Gabriel, and even Savannah in cold, dismissive tones. Her body language when they appeared in scenes was awkward, stiff, almost irritated. But with Aurora, Brianna, and Dayton, she transformed into an over-involved, doting martyr. One viral edit titled Selective Motherhood, Robyn's real face amassed millions of views, showing the raw contrast side by side. Viewers watched as Garrison tried to reconnect with his father on camera, only to be shut down. Followed immediately by Robyn crying that Kody just wants to be respected in his own home. The internet didn't hold back. Memes exploded. Long-form commentaries emerged. TikToks, YouTube deep dives, think pieces. And through all of it, one theme was undeniable. Robyn wasn't just lying, she was weaponizing motherhood. But perhaps most haunting was the emerging timeline of Robyn's influence behind the scenes. According to one former production insider who came forward anonymously after the hot mic leak, Robyn had been working angles from the moment she entered the family. She played the long game, they said, from isolating Mary emotionally to making Janelle feel like an outsider. She built a narrative where she and Kody were the only real functional unit left. What started as subtle sabotage became more overt as Robyn consolidated control not just over Kody, but over the family's future, over finances, and even over how the story was told on screen. And Mary, her silence over the years, now made sense. People used to wonder why Mary tolerated so much humiliation from the catfishing scandal